We have a nice bit of space here in the basement right between the foundation and the ceiling on that wall. Got to come up with a plan for this. This space is about 20 feet long by just over 4 feet high. Be a perfect spot for bookshelves. Here's a rendering of what those bookshelves are going to look like. We'll start by facing that back wall with some oak plywood. All right, got the paneling done. Now these seams won't be a problem because everywhere that there's a seam, there will be one of the vertical supports. That's where I set those up intentionally. And then up along this top edge, where are we, right here? We've got a seam that runs all the way along here. That will actually be where the top shelf is. That'll be covered. The very top where you see some variation against the ceiling, there will be a piece of wood all the way up against the ceiling, so that will hide that, and I'll have one piece on the very end there. So now I can move on and start working on the verticals on this. The wood for the project came free, courtesy of a church in St. Paul that was replacing their old wooden pews with padded chairs. You can see here we've got a dozen pews, 13 feet long. All we had to do was disassemble them and load them up, take them away. these are my shelf uprights. There's 7 of them. And this week I took a couple of days to cut each one of them individually and fit them so that they fit perfectly, because neither the ceiling nor the shelf I think is perfect. So they're cut, they're numbered, they're labeled top and bottom, so I get them back in the right order. And the next thing I'll do is plane them, then I sand them, and when I'm done with sanding, I'll drill holes for the shelf pins and get some finish on these. Now this took a long time, mainly because I'm doing all my cutting down here at the shop, and then I walk through the yard up to the back door, go inside, test fit, and I mean each of these shelves was probably 3-4 trips back and forth, so you can imagine the number of steps I used. Show you a quick fix I had to do. Now this wood, I had just enough. I mean, I don't think I've got an extra 4 feet beyond what I need to do all of my uprights and my shelving. And so I was extra careful to not cut anything too short. But I did have a little problem on this one where I actually ended up not adjusting the angle, and it took my cut and it was way off. So I actually had to glue a piece back in here, so you can see where the grain changes there, and you can see where I use biscuits in the end to lock that wedge in place. That'll be tucked up high. You probably won't see it, but I had to do a quick recovery on this one. Now I need to drill holes so that these shelves are adjustable. I used a jig. It's made by Craig, the same people that make the pocket hole jigs, and so I'll show you how I put those together. Alright, I got the verticals up. Kind of jumped the gun and did that before I remembered to put the camera on the tripod. But these are all in. Now the next thing I'll be doing is putting on the face frame. So there will be a face frame that runs all the way across the top and then down each of these verticals. And then I've got to put a little trim piece up along that back edge, and another piece down along this edge. Once that's done, I start on the shelves. While I was in the middle of this project, I remembered that I promised to send Pastor Jamie a few pictures of what we made out of the wood that came out of his church. And so I thought what I'd do is send him a couple of cribbage boards made out of some of that wood as well, just as a keepsake. So what I did is took some strips of the oak and glued that up with a little bit of walnut in the middle. The walnut actually I purchased as leftover wood from a project that another guy was doing for the cathedral in St. Paul. So these are all church wood. So this will be on the way when I get the project finished. I'm going to take a minute and just show you how I drill the holes in these when I make them. There's a lot of holes to drill and you want to get them straight. So usually what I'll do is draw out a grid. I'll set a fence on my drill press, set my depth, and just drill away. All right, there they are, all finished and ready to go. Hope you enjoy them, Pastor Jamie. Now back to the project. That's it, they're done. Sharon's already started putting books in. And now we can get those boxes emptied and put away.